Hey, Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor and best-selling author, and we are here to talk about the stock market. Y'all asked a question, and I was like, I need to answer that one, and that is, what are leveraged ETFs and what are inverse ETFs? So I want to discuss these, kind of give you my take on it, what they are, and then perhaps whether or not you should jump into them and have a really strong and clear answer, depending on what your experience level is. So first, let's pause and let's start with what an ETF is, and that ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund, for those who may be new, and these are collections of stocks packaged together for one simple price. The reason why most people love ETFs and why I think that most people should have some form of an ETF in their portfolio is because it is very difficult for you to go through and research 25 to 50 or 30 stocks. The reason why I say 25 or 30 is because any investing textbook will tell you that that is the level in which you are probably diversified. Meaning, I don't have everything in tech. If I got to pick 30 companies, I would hope so, right? But I would go and pick things in different industries because I don't know where the market is moving next. We did a video the other day about consumer discretionary stocks, and where that was the one spot that was positive. So if I have 30 stocks, maybe I've got maybe a Target or Walmart or something that counts as consumer discretionary, maybe a makeup company or something like that. Maybe those are places where I would have made a little bit of money, whereas the rest of the market hadn't done anything at that point in time. So aside from all that, an ETF allows you to own multiple companies without having to really sit down and do your research for every single one. One of my favorites is ITOT, that is Total Stock Market Index Fund. It owns all the stocks. I don't need to do nothing. Okay, that's just what it does. So that's just one of my favorite ones. So I'll just throw that out there. But I want to go ahead and answer the question of what an inverse ETF is. Now, as you know what a regular ETF is. So an inverse ETF and a leverage ETF. So I'll start with a leverage and then inverse. So leverage ETF actually uses debt and what they call derivatives, which is like the fancy financial term for options. I did a video on options. We're gonna separate that, and we can talk about options later. But they use loans, they borrow money, and they use what they call financial derivatives to magnify returns. So, for example, if the S&P 500 is up, let's say 1%, and you have a leveraged ETF leveraged at 3 times, that means you're gonna get 3 times the gain. It also means that if you lose money that day, or if the S&P 500 loses money that day, you lose 3 times that amount. Okay, that's what we talk about when we talk about leverage. It's going to magnify the direction in whatever that particular market is tracking. So if it's tech stocks, you're going to get 3x in either direction. If it's just the S&P 500, you're going to get 3x in any direction. The one that I'm referring to, just so we can all be on the same page, there are multiple, and this is just the first one that you Google that came up for me at least, is UPRO. UPRO is a ticker symbol there, and that is the leverage ETF for the S&P 500. So if you're investing in the S&P 500, let's say ticker symbol VOO, it's a solid, good index fund. It tracks the S&P 500 largest companies in the US for the most part, and you're good. If you did that for last year, you made 33%. If you did, and I'm going to put an asterisk here because it's something you want to understand first, but if I did this 3x leverage ETF, might have got 3 times that amount at like 150 some odd percent out of here. Yahoo Finance says 127%. Sounds pretty good. Now I want you to mark a note there, because we have something there before you think that's a good idea. So just put a note there. So what is an inverse ETF? It does the exact same thing, but in the opposite direction. So when the market is up, an inverse ETF goes down. When the market is down, an inverse ETF goes up. And it can be leveraged as well. So that means that the market is down 1%, you can make 3 times that in a positive direction. But if the market is up in one direction, then you can lose 3 times or 2 times in the opposite direction. So it moves in an inverse relationship. So when one is up, the other is down. When one is down, the other is up. And again, it can also be leveraged. So you can have a leveraged inverse ETF, which is a lot going on. So before I give you my thoughts and opinions on it, which you might be able to hint based on my tone, but you do want to know this. So they actually have a somewhat of a, I would consider this a warning, but they have this description on the website. So if you type in UPRO and go to the the Pro Shares is the website. It's just one of these leverage ETFs, not all of them in the world. But they actually tell you that this is not designed for you to hold long term. And the way that these are designed is that they reset every day. So it is not as if you, let's say, held Apple or just a regular index fund throughout the entire time, because index funds don't really change as much. You get what you get. But these types of ETFs, based on the way that they have to calculate this money and all that kind of stuff, reset every day. So even though it says on Yahoo Finance that you would have gained 152%, they even say on their own website that if you actually held for that long, you would not see the exact returns that you think you're going to get. And let's not forget that the fees are much higher in these leverage and inverse ETFs than what you would see in a regular one. And I'm talking about significantly higher in most cases. So you might not want to go there. Now, I'm going to just set this down right quick. You do not want to mess with inverse ETFs or leverage ETFs if you are a new investor, period. These are specifically designed for super experts who think they know what they are doing, and they're usually in this for like a 1 day thing. So the market is absolutely tanking that day. Maybe they go and do an inverse ETF and say, look, the market is crashing, I'm going to get me an inverse ETF, and at least for today only, I know I'm going to make money. It's not something that is designed for long term. It sounds like a good idea, but it's not. But also, again, the fees are higher. These are way more complex, and there's a lot of math that goes into it that most people are not ready for. I'm telling you now, if you are new, this ain't for you, okay? I've been doing this 11 years, and it ain't for me, okay? So I'm just going to throw that out there as well. I think these can be very, very, very dangerous when you don't have the proper knowledge and training to really try and deal with these. I'm not going to say that they are just bad, terrible products or terrible investments. There are places in which this could be used, right? Just like, I don't know, people say whole life insurance is bad. Not necessarily, but they are bad for certain people and certain groups if you haven't done the proper things. You don't have those things in place. So yeah, they're fine. They may not be fine for you because you are a beginner, right? They may not be fine for someone who's been investing for 20 years because their strategies doesn't fit for this, or they don't have the right tools and capabilities to say that this is the time to use this type of investment. So I do recommend against these. Stick to what we know, what we can understand, and what we can repeat. That is a regular index fund. That is regular quality stocks, and you can be successful. When we go back to the previous videos that we had talked about when it comes to 401ks, when it comes to just taxable investing accounts and regular stocks we've discussed on this channel, we know for a fact that those things have been successful, right? So you don't have to do that to be successful. These are very, 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 very dangerous things to mess with and play around with if you do not know what you are doing. And again, if you've been doing this for like 3 years or less, probably not for you. Now, you want to go test your luck? That's on you, because this ain't investment advice anyway. I'm just telling you what I think about it. But again, I cannot stress enough that if you are new, this is not for you at all. These were tailor-made and specially made for specific groups, and for people who want to take on that risk but feel like they know where the market is going. Now, if the market were to absolutely tank tomorrow, would you see me jump into an inverse ETF? No, I would not. And again, I've been doing this for a number of years. So got to be 100% clear on what it is, why I would not recommend it for 99% of people, and then what they are. So let me know what you think in the comments. Hopefully we all learned something today, and that everybody knows 100% that this ain't for them for the most part. So thank you guys for coming. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do all that housekeeping things. We are close to 1.5 thousand subscribers, which I think is incredible because we really got serious about this earlier this year. So thank y'all for sharing the channel. I put my computer back together so I can show y'all the book. So make sure to get the book as well, buildingbread.com/blueprint, because a lot of these investing basics and what you need to do to really build generational wealth, is all in there in ways that you can understand. I think that's one of the things that sets this channel apart, that sets the book apart, is that we talk about all of the things you need, but in a way that we can really understand. I don't like all the high level stuff because I just feel like there's a barrier that doesn't need to be there, right? So make sure you check out the book, make sure you share and subscribe to the channel, and that's it for me. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.